So, hello, welcome to Curanostics. My name is Rachel, and I'm a marketing intern here. And today I'm interviewing Sophia Campillo. Hello, Sophia. Welcome.
Hi, Rachel. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, do you want to just start by introducing yourself and then just kind of telling us your story and what's been
Yeah.
going on in your life recently?
Yeah, so my name is Sophia. I am 23. I graduated from college this past May, and I'm currently living at home, figuring out the next steps. And while I've been home, I've undergone several procedures for my PCOS and endometriosis. I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was 18 um, because I had some hormonal acne and just really weird symptoms, and my cycles were starting to become a little irregular. My doctor at first thought it was nothing, and then I went to another doctor and she confirmed that it was PCOS. Um, and it seemed like every doctor I went to or every I don't know, kind of path that I took wasn't really successful. And so I just spent years and years like researching, doing things on my own, seeing different people. And then I finally found one doctor who has been super helpful, prescribed me really great medication, and has given really good tips. And then the past 2 years, I guess, especially the last year and a half, I was dealing with a lot of like fatigue and pain, and I was like, this can't just be PCOS. I don't know what's going on. And so I went back to the same doctor, and he was like, well, I think you probably have endometriosis as well. So this past fall, or I guess the last month, um, I had surgery. I had laparoscopic surgery for PCOS and endometriosis, which confirmed that I had endometriosis. And yeah, now I'm just sort of, figuring out a new plan, resting and recovering, and trying to figure out all of my health stuff.
Well, yeah, of course. So, Curanostics were making an app that kind of helps people who deal with chronic illnesses and, has to go to a ton of different doctors and have that all medical data so that they can have it right there on their phone with them. So, how has having PCOS and endometriosis kind of impacted like your life in the amount of doctors you had to see or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think since I was 18, especially when I was home from school in the summer, every other day felt like I was getting more blood tests, more like other tests, more doctor's appointments, more physicals, more everything, just because things were going on with my body that couldn't understand, and every doctor was telling me something different. So like for the past like 5 years, it's just been a constant stream of going to
Mhm.
different people and then checking, like every time rechecking your medical records and seeing, oh my gosh, that's a mistake, they messed up there, this isn't what happened, or like just
Mhm.
noticing faulties with every single thing. And it's gotten so frustrating, and it's also not super accessible. Like I can't it's really hard to log in with some practices and download all of your information, and it's not like, oh, I can just pull it up on my phone. Or even if they have an app, it's like, oh, you
Mhm.
have to actually confirm this with your doctor in order to see, all of this. And especially since having surgery, it's like everything's just kind of come to one sort of, I guess, like end point. And so now I feel like I don't know. I think using Curanostics is great because immediately once I downloaded all my records, I was like, oh my gosh, it literally has every single medication I've taken, every single doctor's appointment I've had, like
Mhm.
all these tests I've had done. I think it's a really cool idea, especially for people who are dealing with chronic illness. I'm very excited to learn more about it and use it.
Yeah. Well, so that's so great. I'm glad you had a moment to take a look at our beta for the app. Obviously, we're still always developing it, still always making new processes for it, but I'm really glad that you're finding some features that you really like in it. Do you kind of just want to explain then, yeah, like when you were going through it, if there was anything you liked or anything you were like, oh, this could be like a really interesting development for the future? Obviously, again, it's still in development, so we'd love to hear all your thoughts on it.
Yeah, for sure. I really, like I said before, I loved that it was all like as soon as I had all of my information downloaded, it immediately just put up on just one screen, like vitals, results, appointments, practices, like everything was sectioned off, but it was all one screen. I didn't have to go through like six different apps, six different pages to see everything. It was all very condensed and concise. And then if I wanted to like scroll down on all my different lab results. I could just click on it and then just
Mhm.
scroll down. It was really great. I also really liked how when I was even just signing up for it, like once I'd accessed the beta and was on the website to like make an account, um, it was asking me all these questions like, do you understand the medications you've been taking? Do you feel like you understand what lifestyle goals you should have? And just all of these questions that I was like, "Oh, I I guess I hadn't really thought about that before," and oh my gosh, like, if those questions were to lead to then developing something on the app that could
Mhm.
like, "Oh, like, based off of XYZ from your report, then you should, I don't know, walk for 30 minutes every day." Like, I saw there was a section for lifestyle goals, and
Mhm.
I think that's such a unique thing because it's like the last thing you're thinking of when you're dealing with a chronic illness is like, "Oh my gosh, what are my lifestyle goals? I'm just trying to, like, make it through the day with without getting sick or without feeling gross." But I loved that, and I just loved how accessible it was.
Well,
It's
yeah.
so accessible.
Well, that's very interesting you say that because actually, in the hopefully the next couple of versions of the app too, we are hoping to have kind of like a new data section, obviously with like recent studies, things like that, things that would kind of help
Oh,
people like yeah, lifestyle goals, walking, everything that's curated to the individual person, which is really great. And so we are able to use the AI technology a little bit to like help explain. If people are taking medications they don't understand, your health is such a personal thing. Everyone wants to kind of be in charge of it themselves. That's so great that you were able to take a look at it. So then in the future, so I said you've had to go to a lot of different doctors and everything like that. Have you
mhm,
found it hard to kind of compile all that data then or transfer that medical data from one doctor to the other or kind of,
definitely.
even things like verify that a doctor did actually say what he said in the first place?
Yes, no, that I think has definitely been, like, the number one struggle with all
Mhm.
of, my medical history is just going from person to person, and being able to show them everything from the last practice I was visiting, from the last doctor I was visiting. And it's really hard because then a lot of these, doctors and hospitals, they're so busy, so it's not like they have
Mhm.
time to like you just kind of get lost in the numbers and lost in the crowd. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I could call someone and be like, "Oh, on December 4th, what did and it could take them 3 weeks to get back to me or like over that. So
Mhm.
that's been such a huge struggle and it also just kind of kills your motivation, I think, for like seeking different options and different treatments because it's like if you have to refigure everything out, then it's gonna take even longer than it would to just, keep
Mhm.
going with the same route. So that's definitely an issue for sure.
Yeah, so do you think then that Curanostics is something that would definitely help with that, make that easier so you can get more treatment quicker and get
Oh,
everything
yeah.
done for your own
Like,
health?
I was just thinking for my upcoming doctor's appointment, how cool would it be if I just, like, brought my little Curanostics and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
isn't this like, you can see everything that we've had done." Like, you can see all of
Mhm.
it. You can see all of the medication, all of the lab results, which is really unique because I feel like on a lot of apps or like my doctor's websites or whatever, getting the results from different labs is the trickiest thing because often you go through like a lab core or like a third party place to get tested. So all of those showed up on the Curanostics and I was like, "Oh my gosh, how cool is that?" And it showed like how much was taken, when it was taken and what the result was, even if it was for like 5 different things.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think Curanostics it's definitely helpful and kind of a game changer in that regard for sure.
Well, that's so great. I'm so glad that you enjoy it, and thank you so much again for taking time to interview with me today. I know you have a very busy life and you're getting everything done, so that means a lot that you were able to interview with us today. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share? Obviously, just kind of before we close out the interview here.
Yeah, just I'm so excited to see where like how the app develops and what new features sort of come up as you're like changing and going through and like marketing it, I guess. I'm very excited to see like what happens in the future with this app. It's
Oh, great.
definitely been super helpful so far, so
Oh, well,
just
that's
can't wait.
so great to hear, and we're very excited to see where we go as well. Thank you so much for taking time to interview with me today, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel.
Of course.